Hello, friends, Panic, Ryan, whatever you want to call me here, and welcome back. First off, thank you for the comments, likes on the first video of the channel relaunch. I will talk more about that in a bit, but first, let's get into the video. This is a review of the Tier 9 Polish Tech Tree Heavy Tank, the 50 TP, a flexible and interesting heavy that sacrifices a few key things in order to do one thing incredibly well. And that is to do damage. So let's take a look at the stats, compare it to some competitors, and then jump into a game that is one of my favorites that I've had in recent memory. Okay, I'm going to compare the 50 TP to the E75 and the BZ68, tanks that are very similar but have some key differences. First off, you may be surprised to see that the 50 TP has the best DPM in this comparison. And while its reload is worse, it's the alpha damage. 560 is tremendous alpha damage at tier 9. And the thing is, like, if you compare 560 to 530 on the other tanks, it doesn't seem like that much, but 560 means that on average you are closer to rolling around 600 than you are to 500 in theory. And hitting for 600 at tier 9 hurts. When you bonk a tier 7 in this tank, good lord, is it hilarious. And while yes, 530 is still good, this tank's gun hits way harder than most people realize, and it is without a doubt the best part of this machine. The standard pen and premium pen are also pretty good. Having 250 millimeters of standard pen is really good, and I believe the premium pen is also decent at 303, but not amazing. Not great premium pen. However, 68 millimeters of HE pen, take a few, because you will start to pack some pretty hilarious results when you're hitting with the HE rounds. Now, the other thing, though, is that while you get the better alpha damage, you are sacrificing your reload a little bit, but honestly, I'll take the trade-off. The other trade-off is the gun handling. The E75 kind of has like that, the mystique of being the German heavy tank with the accurate gun. And while, yes, it absolutely has the best gun handling in this comparison, it also isn't much better than the 50 TP because it's 0.22, 0.22 versus 0.21, 0.21, and 0.20, 0.20. However, it's the base dispersion that is better on the E75, with 0.38 being not great. This tank does feel inaccurate, but when you pump vents onto this thing in a half-decent crew, I found it usable. You do have to stop and aim, but honestly, the aim time of 2.88 is long enough because your reload is long enough. So it honestly balances out. Don't get me wrong, though. This is not a sniper, and you don't want to be taking lots of snapshots. However, I sometimes just take them because, again, hitting for 600 is a lot of fun. In fact, here's a little compilation of me committing bonk on some people. Fun gun. Lots of good times with that alpha damage, and all three of these tanks have 8 degrees of gun depression, which will be very important when we look at the armor later. Now, aside from the alpha being crazy, the other surprising thing about this tank is its mobility. Now, 35 isn't great, and it doesn't have rocket boosters like the BZ, but you'll notice that its terrain resistances are great. 35 on hard medium. Now, not so great on soft, but it's better than the E75. And because this tank deceptively weighs 10,000 tons less than the BZ and way less than the E75, this thing actually accelerates pretty good at 13 power to weight. So its terrain resistances are but not terrible, but its acceleration is great. And so for me, in practice, this means I don't need to run a turbo. I can put all the equipment into the gun and to the durability of this machine. And while when I eventually unlock a second build on this, I absolutely will put a turbo in it, I think it doesn't need it. And honestly, you will keep up with most heavy tanks at your tier. Now, This is where things start to go south, but not disastrous for the 50 TP. The armor, 120 on the front, 90 at the side, and 60 at the rear, whereas we have 230 on the turret, 160 on the side, and 100 at the rear. So that is way less than the E75 in all regards. And it is also less than the BZ. And in practice, yes, this has way worse armor. Absurdly large lower plate. Absolutely gargantuan turret cupola. It's a tumor on the front of the tank. And big cupolas on top. So let's kind of break this down bit by bit. If you're sitting in front of somebody, you're brawling, they have so many options to shoot you at, but they're most likely going to shoot you here. And that is absolutely the right choice. This is also a great option because it's enormous, but it's likely you're going to probably be angled a little bit. But the thing is, while this might get a little bit better, it's still 230. So tier 8's firing premium, most tier 9's, and all tier 10s will still be able to go through this. And even if they don't aim at that, they can aim right there. It's the same. It's even worse. And while this plate is outstanding, except for, I'm not sure why. Did I just see, what the heck happened there? The armor model on this tank is bizarre, as you can see. This thing here is really good, this front plate, but nobody's going to shoot that. I mean, they might miss and hit it, but not reliably. Now, if you're side scraping, things get a bit more interesting because this side armor is excellent. Now they can go through the tracks, but even here, there's a plate that opens up right there. Look, Tanks GG's even flashing it. Shoot here, idiot. And they can also hit the turret ring because this is a round boy and it sticks out like a sore thumb. So, moral of the story is people can shoot you from anywhere they want. And they probably have an angle to penetrate. Now, if they don't aim, they will probably have some difficulties because the side armor is good and this front plate is excellent. However, it's not reliable. And then we get to the turret, which is definitely the strongest part of this tank because look at this. 360 at the front. Holy mother. This is an absurd amount of turret armor. This is fantastic. And then you look up. That's a 150 millimeter cupola. On both sides. It's not good. It's not good at all. And if you've played the IS-3, actually this tank's turret is very similar to the IS-3, you'll know that while the cheek armor is very dependable and very strong, the top of the tank is a giant weak point because it can overmatch it. And look at that giant bar right on top of that. It's only 50 millimeters thick. People will overmatch and pen you all day in this thing. So when you're fighting in a street and you're kind of like this, people just have so many options to go through your armor. Now, when you decide, that's the other way, when you decide to go hull down, on the other hand, much better. Look at that. This armor is now absolutely tremendous. Now, if you're covered here, this is good. However, they're probably going to be able to see the tip of this, but it's going to be a really small actual target. But yeah. This is the only position where your armor will be 100% reliable, but you can't always guarantee you're going to find that. Now, 8 degrees of gun depression is great, don't get me wrong, but not every map has those opportunities. So the armor on this tank is unreliable at best. Now, thankfully, this tank has 2,000 hit points, which is more than the E75. And what that means is you slap a durability on this bad boy and you drive. You drive right at the enemy, you take the hits, and you hit them back harder than they hit you. You use your good DPM and your kind of just aggressive attitude, and you can get this thing doing some pretty goofy things. People will be surprised. There are not a lot of these on the battlefield, and so people will come around the corner and think, silly Polish tank, I have you. And then you hit them for 600, and there's a quarter of their health gone or more. Take the shots. Sometimes your armor's just not going to work. If you've played a Type 5 Heavy, it's kind of similar in that regard. The other issue with this tank is the view range of base 380 is not great. You probably want to use coated optics. I don't because I just like to drive forward and play hyper aggressive. But yeah, that's this tank in a nutshell. God tier gun, mediocre armor, workable mobility. So let's hop over to the garage. We'll take a look at the equipment that I would recommend using, some of the crew skills, and then we will play the game. Okay, in the garage now, and first off, visual model. I love the way this tank looks. I think it looks bizarre, weird, and excellent. So here is what I run on this machine. I run durability with the improved hardening, vert stabs, and gun rammer. Now, I know that that's missing out on a lot because my view range is terrible, absolutely awful, but I find that the vert stabs help keep this gun handling in check, on pace with the other tanks of the similar tier. Not as good as them, but not terrible, and also gives me a little bit more flexibility. Now, the gun rammer is just absolutely necessary to pump that DPM up even more. 2,500 DPM with a gun that hits for 560 is very nice, and that improved hardening gets my durability and my hit points up to 2,200, which is very, very nice. As for my crew skills, my face is covering my crew right now, but let's do it. So commander, I've got brothers in arms, repair, and training recon, and then eventually situational awareness because the commander is the radio operator on this tank, which sucks. So again, that's why my view range is terrible. And then honestly, it's just a pretty standard heavy tank. You know, get your repairs, get your Deadeye, clutch braking for the mobility. I would recommend all of that for this machine. And of course, intuition. I find that you do tend to get ammo racked, not an absurd amount in this tank, but often enough that that will for sure be the next perk I get on my loader. Now, field mods. As you can see, I am grinding towards the 60 TP. And so I do not intend on getting all of the field mods before then. However, we can take a look at what they are, and I would tell you what I would recommend to put. First up, between these two, this is actually kind of tough. The speed or the suspension durability. And actually, I know this is probably going to be controversial, but I would take the maintaining speed when crossing. I would take this one because the train resistances are already pretty bad. But if you get the turbo on this thing with a second build, then you could probably switch to lightweight. Next, absolutely reduce the aiming circle size, make it a little bit more accurate. The stun duration, get the view range up. Get the view range up with the periscope. That's great. And then 100% between the power supply rewiring and the aiming. This is where I would take the mobility one for sure. Because then this tank is pushing much better mobility where the turbo is going to push you closer to probably almost 40, 42, which is insane in a tank that has as thick of a turret as this with somewhat reliable armor. So there you have it. That is the 50 TP in a nutshell. I'm now going to take you in-game. This is a game I had a few days ago as I was trying my best to get a good one to show you. And boy, did I have a absolute banger of a game. All right, we're rolling out on Airfield. Before we get into this replay proper, I just want to say thank you. I uploaded that channel relaunch video as a bit of a creative outlet for myself, not really expecting much to come from it, but to get a couple thousand views, but really just so many positive comments from fellow World of Tanks players who are just happy to see me doing it. It just made me want to make videos even more. And so from the bottom of my heart, thank you. It is you who motivates me to make the video you're watching right now. And I'm going to keep it going, and I can't wait to. So genuinely, from the bottom of my heart, thank you. And also, a positive comment sphere on YouTube. Are you kidding me? You love to see it. First off, look at this. I'm faster than that 60 TP. Huh? This is where that mobility of the machine is really nice. Although you can see as we start to go uphill, yeah, he's starting to catch up a little bit. So, Airfield, a map I despise if there's artillery, and there's no artillery. And that's so we're off to a good start. We are mid-tier against 3 tier 10s on our team versus their team. Again, my face, I'm going to pause the replay. There you can see what we've got on our team. We got a 60 TP, a FV, and a 268 versus an E3, an STB, and an IS-7. So this is a pretty well-balanced matchup on a map that is interesting when it comes to playing heavy tanks. Now, this 60 TP, I would say, is in the position that I would like to be. However, because he got there and I didn't take it. I'm going to play really aggressive against this Conqueror and the tanks that are going to push up. Now, interestingly, let's see. Can we get a nice bonk? No. Interestingly, you can see that this is weird. Tanks are pushing up from the left here. It's rare that a heavy tank gets up there this early, and they are going to be a pain in my butt. But let's take a look. 535 right through the lower plate with standard pendant on IS-7. That's a great roll. And that IS-7, who was on full health just a few seconds ago, is now not a one-shot for me reliably, but pretty darn good. Terrible shot by me. I should have aimed that at his side armor. That would have gone through. And now, a bounce. See, the armor is not terrible. He didn't aim. He hit that front big giant angled plate. He's not going to pen that. But we'll have to just wait and see if he pens it later. And so now we're in a little bit of an awkward situation. This guy is clearly a new player who just got bonked for 514 and also by a 60 TP. So he has, he has lost his hit points there. And now this Conqueror just shows a little bit too much. We get a fire. Oh, you'd love to see it. That is 793 damage there from one hit on that Conqueror who was using the stock gun. This game, I'm already feeling, ooh, and another one through the lower plate. Again, 604. Now, that's the first time we've rolled exactly for 604. We've been low rolling quite substantially this whole game. But still, when you're hitting above the 500 mark, it feels nice. I hate shooting at the Cupolas of Conquerors and Super Conquerors. I'm so glad they're nerfing that thing. And so we got a bit of a stalemate here. We're definitely up on hit points on this corner. And I'm thinking, ooh, should I push? Should I go try to finish this guy off? Yes, let's do it. Let's use the mobility. I can tank a shot if I have to and get this gun out of the game. He's not even looking. And oh, that's a T-173 who missed me. Yikes. But oh, how much am I going to take here from this? Because this is bad. He hit the rock on his second, and he missed me. So I got so lucky with that there. I should be at least half health. So I am well aware that that trade of killing the the Patriot for 22, yeah, not worth it in most circumstances. And so now we take our first damage of the game with the shot from the Conqueror shooting a standard round right through the cupola. That's going to go through no problem, no worries whatsoever. Now I've decided, ooh, should I switch to HE to try to finish off this Conqueror? Because it's pretty heavy HE, but oh no. No, because that T-123 is back with a vengeance. I now have 4 or 5 heavy tanks in front of me, a Sturzfang, and my T-rates behind me are starting to look a little bit like. This is where this tank, yikes, is in a bit of trouble. Because the hull armor just is not that reliable. And sure, yes, I could be angling a bit better, but I would not be giving my allies good shots. And I just don't even feel that confident using that armor against an IS-7, whether it's angled or not. However, he's going to do something nice and stupid so I can bonk him for 557. I don't use bonk, by the way, for every gun. This tank commits bonk. Others don't. I take 438 from the 50 TP. I'm at 3K, but now I'm at half health. There's still 10 minutes left. A lot of hit points on the enemy team. I'm thinking, oh, this is going to suck. Another 530 and another hit. We're at 413 now. Hit points are looking low. 600 health. And while we've got a pretty good damage total, we're starting to lose tanks here. Now, thankfully, we are a little bit up on hit points. So I'm just going to let this Mauerbrecher take the shot, if he can, at first, because I need to kill this 50 TP. As long as that guy can shoot me in the side here, I cannot use that armor. And so there's a Char who's on the corner, way over there. And I'm thinking, hey, man, can you go around and shoot him in the butt? And so we wait and see. Now, this guy, unfortunately, in the Mauerbrecher, just loses all of his hit points. And he's dead. Maybe I just used him as a shield, which is mean, but we'll have to see if it leads to us getting a big fat W or a bit of a heartbreak, because it's not going great right now. The FE absolutely obliterates that Charioteer, and so we're now back in this, but this game is neck and neck, 6-6, but it's one of those games where you can tell that every kill at this point matters immensely. every shot, because as soon as these numbers start to uneven out, we're in trouble. Now, that Progetto gets obliterated there. The premium round going right through his upper plate, rolling for 582, and we're looking pretty good now. However, still, IS-7, that's a dangerous tank. Doesn't matter if it has 2,000 hit points or 91. But this T110E3 is just out on the side. So yeah, I'll hit him for 558. Let's see. IS-7 tries to come around the corner to get me, and he's gone. I'm thinking, okay, it's just this E3 now. But the E3 can kill me. So I can't push him until we have enough tanks. Now, the 60 TP, I'm thinking, is going to go all the way around and push him right away. Unfortunately, that is not the case. We end up sitting here for quite a bit as we're trying to figure out, okay, what do I do? Because while I've used my hit points to absorb a lot of the enemy team's damage, I'm at a point now where there are many tanks on the enemy team that can kill me in either one shot or certainly two. And with this E3 on the at least 3/4 hit points, not anymore, we're good. He gets hit there, which means I can take advantage and hit him for 541. Now this game is starting to look pretty damn good. He's gone. An amazing shot by that Object 268, and I'm thinking, okay, great, let's do this. Can we hit this Nomad, though? And this is where you're going to see this tank using the long range for the first time. Right in the side of that STRB. Now, we roll for 568 there, which is about average. We'll have to see if rolling for higher will matter later. That is an absurd snapshot there. That's where the vertical stabilizers is just, I find, necessary, because it gives me a little bit more confidence at medium range to long range as well than it does if I had the vents. And so now we're pushing almost 7,000 damage in a tier 9 tank. I'm thinking to myself, hell yeah. And I'm about to get a little greedy. Now, this is the awkward part. We've got a nice amount of tanks on the other side of the map that are all starting to push their way up. And I'm thinking, great, we're going to get in the cap, put the pressure, and then these heavies that are up there, or sorry, the TDs up there, are going to have to move. Right? Right? We'll see. Okay, now with the Charioteer dead, that means that I can pretty safely move up and use this tank's really good mobility to try to move up. And then, oh, hello, Mr. Char Future 4. You've moved out of position, and you're about to do some damage to my friends there. I think it's time I hit you. Now, he goes unspotted, but I know exactly where he is. He's in that bush. He has to be. And so I pull up. I'm going to use my gun depression so he can't fully see me. I'm going to stop and aim right dead center in that thing, and... Huh? Oh, he's there. It just missed. Thankfully, though, he is dead. But the STRV on the enemy team, who is a very good player, by the way, Joe Mama, who is on 3 kills, and now it's just 2 versus more. So this game, though, is not as close as it looks, because some shenanigans are about to happen. And now here's the thing. I have a flaw in World of Tanks, and I'm sure you do too, where you're having a good game. Maybe it's the first time you've done an absurd amount of damage in a while, and you think, I want more. Gluttony starts to take hold, and I am about to have a very gluttonous moment. The STRV is on 608 hit points. There is a low chance that I can roll high and wipe him out in 1 hit. But he can definitely reload 2 times. He gets me there. Now I overmatch his side. And for some reason, I don't turn to the left and hide behind the big rock. I wiggle my turret. Oh, no. Now I'm thinking to myself, no way. We're going to win. No problem. I did almost 7,000 damage in this game. This is the most amount of damage I've done in a tech tree tank in a while. And then I noticed that this STRV is starting to get pretty high on kills. And the other people aren't doing much about it. We're all trying to move up, hit the kills. The Borsig can't move because there is a big scary tank on the other side. And so I'm frantically switching between tanks to see who is going to be my hero to secure my bag. Who will get me the big fat W I desire here? Okay, the Forest Spirit decides to not cap and is just going to shoot instead. Let's go check in on the Forest Spirit. Oh. Okay. Well, no, that's not good. Okay. Well, he's dead. So now we got a Borsig. I'm switching back frantically because I'm terrified. We have to kill this Stritzvong, who's on 6 kills here. Can the FV do it? Can the FV do it? He aims for 3 airs. Okay. With him dead, this is a win, right? It has to be a win. However, we all know the World of Tanks experience can be frustrating. 30 seconds, 38 seconds left in the cap. By all imagination, the team should be fine here. We're going to be okay. It's just a question of who is going to, you know, actually do it. Now, somehow that Borsig ricochets off the side here, and this 268 is still waiting, but then the FV finishes him off with 19 seconds left, and we secure the win. Thank God. I was surprised to see that this was not an ace tanker. Perhaps if I hadn't have been greedy at the end there, maybe not. But here we go. It was a great game. 111,000 credits, 16,000 experience. I did have boosters on at the time for 6,900 damage. Nice. Only 1 kill against the Patriot, so maybe it was worth the rush. But look at this. That STRV farmed at the end of the game, getting almost 8,000 damage. I feel bad, but I'm so glad we came through with the win. Great game by so many different people on my team to help secure that big fat W. And I'm sorry, Grumpy, that was a rough one. So yeah, the 50 TP experience in a nutshell. I love this tank. I love you all. All in all, I give the 50 TP a very strong 8 out of 10. I think it's got enough going for it to make it a fun, beginner-friendly, and free-to-play friendly tank that you should absolutely check out. And as much as I'm probably going to have to sell it in order to afford the 60 TP, I really don't want to. So check it out. And again, let me know what you want reviewed. Comment on this video. I've had a bunch for the Badger and the Borsig and a few other machines. I don't have them right now, but I will absolutely work on getting them. And if this channel somehow gets to the rank of being community contributor, I will devote an absurd amount of my time to reviewing tanks that I can have access to. So again, thank you from the bottom of my heart for watching. Like, subscribe, share. You know the drill. And take it easy. Take care. By the way, next video, I spent a stupid amount of money on a tank that people told me is bad, but I bought it because of a movie. So next video, we'll see if it's worth the hype. All right, my friends, take care.